Throughout Dokkan's history, time after time, Dokkan would release a unit that would tear the community apart, and those units would later be known as the most controversial units in Dokkan history. These controversial units often sparked heated debates and discussions among the players, with passionate arguments on both sides. Their unique abilities and mechanics challenged the established norms of the game, leaving players divided on whether they were a welcome addition or a disruptive force. Despite the controversy, these units undeniably left a lasting impact on the Dokkan community and continue to be remembered as pivotal moments in the game's evolution. So grab your popcorn, grab whatever snacks you have next to you, and join me for today's top 5 most controversial units in Dokkan history.
Things seem very bad. Beast Gohan is just an active skill. Orange Piccolo is a giant transformation. Now, Orange Piccolo being a giant transformation, I would say is not really as bad.
On December 26, 2022, LR Ultimate Gohan and LR Power Awakening Piccolo were announced in a Dokkan Now livestream. While there was a huge amount of hype during the stream and even the build up to the celebration, it quickly turned to chaos, as in the livestream, the details shown were missing one thing for LR Ultimate Gohan: his transformation button. This led to the entire livestream being in a state of shock after hearing the news.
Hero or hybrid saying
not.
Yes!
And then the
Dude, it's just the active. No, it's just the active skill. No way!
And things only got worse on Twitter. Almost as quickly as the announcement was made, people were flooding the timeline with hundreds of comments and replies, all related to the bad news. Despite being good, he became not only a huge meme in the community for the way his card was handled, but also became one of the most hated cards in Dokkan history at the time.
And then let's not even get started about the bullshit. Oh my god. Global released these motherfuckers without a leader skill. Bruh. Bro, what?
Yes, on Global, it does say to be released for Gogeta and Omega Shinron's leader abilities, which we all assumed we would just be getting categories significantly early on the Global version, but instead, we're just not getting leader skills for Gogeta and Omega, which is really strange. Probably one of the strangest things I've seen happen in this game to date.
Tech Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and Omega Shenron was yet another Japanese and global release on August 3rd, 2017. When they initially became available, both units were incredibly strong and very fun to use on the Japanese side of the game because of the new meta the characters introduced. Global players, unfortunately, did not meet the same fate, as they were unable to use these meta-defining characters since they featured an odd message in place of their leader skill. To be released was the message all global players saw in place of the leader skills the new characters had. This was a major shaft to the global player base, and the whole Dokkan community heard about it. Most people speculated that both Gogeta and Omega Shenron were going to get the respective leader skills at the end of the 120% meta Global had introduced prior. To this day, to be released era of Dokkan Battle was by far one of the biggest global shafts in Dokkan history.
I'm gonna make a video about this too, because I know people are gonna be upset. Like, oh, what about Global? What about Global? But the Japanese version imploded yesterday, y'all. There was no summon banners for hours. Bro, like, I understand you guys on Global want stones, but like, there was a huge problem on JP. A gigantic problem.
On November 14th, 2017, Fizz Kefla was introduced into the Japanese version of Dokkan as a headliner unit on her own banner, along with a lot of other banner units. This is important because Kefla herself was not a Dokkan Fest exclusive character, and while that had some backlash of its own, the hype for Kefla at the time was still massive. Why is this a controversial release, you might ask? Well, along with Kefla, a new version of the game would be released. Version 3.8.0 was the newest version of Dokkan at the time, introducing a lot of really hype things, like literally breaking the game by displaying the wrong feature characters on banners. Kefla specifically suffered the most from this ginormous bug in the game. On top of the bugs and banners being messed up, the community got up in arms about the bug being confirmation that Bandai was secretly rigging rates on banners, and the bug accidentally brought attention to it.
Okay, so somebody who really wants to prove that Bandai is scamming people made a thread today with a lot of tweets from Japanese players that basically said, hey, we looked into the pools in each banner, and I'm noticing that units on mine aren't in there. So then, as you know, shortly afterward, all the banners went down. So this theory kind of spun up that the pools players were seeing were their quote unquote true pools. And the pool that normally shows on a banner is a quote unquote fake pool that is everything. But accounts can only pull what's actually in the true listing. So basically, they're saying that Bandai accidentally revealed that they lock some accounts out of being able to get certain cards, and that those cards just aren't accessible to certain accounts.
But before we get too deep into the Kefla lore, I would like to give you guys a little bit more info on gacha game regulations. Gacha games in Japan began in 2004 and were initially successful until 2012, when a major law was implemented against companies due to customer uproar over unfair practices. The complete gacha system, which involved spending thousands to obtain rare cards, caused a major scandal and led to the banning of all gacha companies. This resulted in a loss of $3.8 billion USD in stock value, known as the Comp Gacha Shock. Gacha companies then introduced limited time banner events to compensate for the loss. After the 2012 government restriction, no other laws were implemented against gacha. However, companies formed a committee called JAXA, which later merged with CISA. This group ensures customer satisfaction and prevents malpractices. In 2016, the New Year's event in the Grand Blue Fantasy led to a media scrutiny and a plummet in stock value. The Japan government did not make any regulations against gacha, but the Committee for Gacha Games, CISA, made guidelines for its members, including showing probability rates and banners. Apple also introduced the same requirement for iOS games with loot boxes or gacha in 2017. With a little bit of context behind gacha regulations out of the way, I would like to get back to the Kefla lore. Obviously, with the community in an uproar, this was bad news for the game, and the devs were very quick to make things up to the community. As of a day later, on November 15th, 2017, all JP players were compensated with 300 stones, and anyone who summoned on the banner was refunded all the stones they had used. This was one of the biggest points of contention in the Dokkan community for years, as global players felt as though they missed out on a lot, and some still do to this day. Global players would ask some of the biggest names in the community when the global side of the game was going to get the 300 stones JP had gotten, and despite the many warnings from YouTubers like The Truth DT, global players still felt as though it was coming. Unfortunately, the day never came, and global players did not take very kindly to it.
Guys, we're back for another Dokkan battle video, and let's just hop right into the Gohan banner. The new Gohan is easily one of the best units in the game. They made him ridiculously, ferociously, awesomely, amazingly, super duper good, which is cool. You know, Ultimate Gohan has routinely been shafted in his time in Dokkan, so it is good that they just basically said, whatever. We're just going to make him, like, super OP.
Tech Gohan was released on July 31st, 2020, and was considered by many to be one of the strongest characters in the game. Unfortunately, others hated that he could be seen as better than one unit in particular at the time. On October 31st, 2019, STR Cooler was released and loved by most of the community. And while it took some convincing, people came to understand that STR Cooler was the best Dokkan Fest TUR at the time. Gohan's release split the communities apart. Cooler fans and Gohan fans constantly fought over who was better. Cooler fans brought up many points against Gohan's kit, like his teams for example. Cooler had better links and better teams compared to Gohan. But there was one thing Cooler fans compared to Gohan the most: his damage. This sparked a major debate in the community. Attack versus defense. What was better and why? While Gohan should have been one of the least controversial units to release back in 2020, given the climate of the game at the time, there was no doubt that he spawned one of the biggest points of contention in Dokkan battle history. Hey guys, thank you so much for making it this far into the video. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe. It means the world to me. It really helps out the channel, and it just helps support me through and through. Depending on how well this video does, either way, I'm happy that I got it out. I'm super passionate about the Dokkan community and stuff like that, so I figured this was a fun little dip into the first video of the Dokkan archive stuff. I know it's probably not perfect, and I did mess up on some things. I promise next time I do one of these, I'm probably going to do a little bit more research and probably help do some more editing throughout the video and stuff like that. Like I said, this is just something to dip my toes into it. So if I did mess up on some topics or, you know, some info, leave it down in the comments. I really do try and learn everything. So yeah, guys, it means the world to me if you guys do help me out by liking or subbing. And if not, that's okay too. If you enjoyed the video, let me know down below. And yeah, I love you boys. Strive to be better people every single day. Thank you again for watching the first episode of Dokkan Archives. And yeah, have a good one, guys. I love y'all. Bye.